I'd like to say thank you to Jordan Page for that beautiful song. When we heard it on the internet, okay, I'm real close. I'm about to eat it. Okay. Oh, this is so foreign to us. When we heard Jordan singing that song, we wondered how he could know LaVoy so personally. He was able to describe my husband so well. He was a man who lived by a code. He was a man who was a man of God, and he followed those principles and values in every part of his life. I have written something because I'm not a public speaker, so I hope you'll forgive me for reading what I have to say. I first want to express my gratitude for those who have given of their time and their talents to help our family during this difficult time. Todd McFarlane, Sherilyn Eager, Boyd Tuttle, just to name a few. Our extended family and friends within our communities, for all of you who are here today, for all of the kind, loving, thoughtful people across this country and beyond, because we've heard from everyone everywhere across the world who have sent cards, support, and gifts in remembrance of my husband, and have in the cause in which he stood for God, freedom, and liberty. My husband LaVoy was an amazing man, a rare one of his kind. From the very first time that I met him, it was clear to me that this man was a rare gem. He truly loved his Savior and was not ashamed to testify of him. He truly loved his family and enjoyed more than anything spending time with his children, playing and working side by side with them. He took his role of fatherhood very seriously and honorably. He loved me, and I loved him dearly. He always insisted on our weekly date nights so that I would have my special time with him. He loved his parents, his siblings. They were his closest friends. He enjoyed people. He shared his time, his talents with others in serving within his church and within his community. He loved his life, and he lived each day that way. He was a man of great character and principle, integrity and strength. He was modest, and he was humble, and would be really embarrassed about all the fanfare. He loved this country and the principles which it was founded upon, freedom, which he believed was God-given. He believed in preserving this freedom and our liberties, so much so that he was willing and did give his life for it. Why was LaVoy in Hurricane? LaVoy never liked bullies. He was one who always went to bat for the underdog, as it was with the Hammonds in Oregon. He felt the government and the BLM had bullied and unlawfully imprisoned the Hammonds for a second time. He traveled to Oregon that day for the rally, not knowing then that he would be staying. The occupation of the refuge was a peaceful assembly of individuals who were wanting to bring attention to the citizens. The plight that the Hammonds were in. They wanted to point out the overreach and the persecution of innocent ranchers, farmers, and miners made by the BLM and the government. The Bundys, LaVoy, and others present were able to do this by teaching and educating those who came to them about their rights, encouraging them, letting them know that they were not alone, that there were indeed others around the country who were concerned for them and willing to stand up with them and for them. The day that my husband LaVoy was murdered, assassinated by our government, they had been invited by Sheriff Palmer to speak to the citizens in his county in the city of John Day. This is what I know about the ambush. 1, they were stopped They placed their hands and their heads out of the window to show that they were unarmed, letting them know that there were women in the truck. 2, shots were fired at them, missing all of them. Then 3, Ryan Payne was taken into custody. 4, LaVoy continues with his hands and head out of the truck, and he is yelling at them that he is going to the sheriff's in John Day for protection. Number 5, they fire upon the truck again, and that is when LaVoy leaves for protection in the neighboring county. That is why he leaves. He leaves not knowing that just up ahead they have set up a kill stop for him. Some have wondered why he tried to go around that kill stop. I haven't. I know my husband. He had 2 seconds to decide what he was going to do. He had 3 choices. 1, he could turn to the right and wreck the vehicle, and everybody inside the vehicle would be injured or killed. 2, he could go forward and plow into those officers who were there in that kill stop, and then he would be responsible for killing them or himself and others in the truck. Or 3, he could choose the less risky, less dangerous direction, and that was to turn to the left into the 3 foot of snow, which stopped the truck, and everyone in it was still safe. I know that he was constantly thinking of the safety of others because he valued life. I know that as he immediately exited the truck with his hands in the air, which was clear to see, that he was again thinking of others. I know that when he left that truck with his hands in the air, that he again was trying to divert attention away from the people that he cared about in the truck to himself, thereby having all of the officers that were clearly there in wait in the trees, in the brush, to focus their attention on him. I have been told by Sheriff Palmer of John Day that he had requested that day that they come unarmed. It has been testified by others that they indeed did de-arm themselves before they left for that gathering in John Day, where the people were waiting to hear again about the Constitution and our rights as citizens. There may have been something in the back end of the truck, but they had no weapons on their person. I believe that as LaVoy exited the truck with his hands in the air, I believe that he was probably shouting, "If you have to shoot somebody, shoot me. Just go ahead and shoot me." I can see my husband doing that. As he left, and he's running in that snow with his hands in the air, I believe that when you see him reach in is when he was first shot. And I believe that when he put his hands back up in the air immediately, empty, he was continuing to show them he was no threat to anyone. And again, when he reaches back to his body, I believe he was shot a second time. And I believe that again, he raised his hands empty to show he was not armed. And then he was killed and shot who knows how many times. And there he lay. I want to see body cam footage. I want to hear the audio that is attributed to that. I want to see my husband's truck. I want an independent investigation. I don't want the FBI lies. I don't want their version of the truth because they don't know what truth is. We need to talk to our sheriffs in our own areas, in our own counties. After my husband was killed, I went and called my sheriff. He's an appointed sheriff. And I asked my sheriff, are you going to protect me and my cows? Are you going to be there for me when I need you, when they come to take my cows? Do you know what he said? He said, Mrs. Finicum, you better not be armed. You better not put any guns on. You better not do what your husband was doing. You better think about it long and hard, Mrs. Finicum. Because, Mrs. Finicum, I have just spent 2 weeks in Washington, D.C. with the BLM, Mrs. Finicum, and they are not going to put up with what you have planned. That is what my sheriff said to me 4 days after my husband was murdered. And I said to him, Sheriff, whatever his name was, I said, Sheriff, I didn't ask you what you did in D.C. I asked you if you were going to protect me, because that is your job, is to protect me from these people who want to do me harm. Are you going to be there for me? And he said, if you don't carry guns, Mrs. Finicum, I will come there and stand between you and them. But that, I just wanted to relay that story to you so you could understand that our sheriffs are being indoctrinated by our government. They are being told that they do not have power, that they are not the authority in our counties, which they are. We need to elect sheriffs that know the Constitution and that can stand by it and stand with us. So I urge you, I urge you to, when you go to vote for your sheriffs, make sure that you pick wise men and men who will stand and that you can trust and hold accountable. Before my husband left for Oregon, we had just gathered our cows and branded on New Year's Eve. It was a wonderful time, and we froze to death, but we had really good memories. What is it about suffering out there in the elements that bring great stories later, right? We have lots of those. But he left my daughter Tian, who is 18 years old, he left her in charge of the ranch. And she has taken that responsibility very seriously. And thank heavens for my children who learned from him, because we will be depending upon her greatly for running of the ranch. I am forever grateful that I had the opportunity to go to the refuge and to work there with my husband and to see what they were doing. And I watched him from sunup to sundown, talk to the people who came and talk to the reporters who came, and I watched him teach about the Constitution, and I watched how he was with the people and how he gave freely of his time and how excited he was. He said to me, he says, Jeanette, you know, I spend from morning till night teaching people. I haven't done this much teaching since I served my mission on the reservations in the Dakotas. And it makes me so happy to do this all day long. So I know how happy he was to be able to share that with everyone. I'm grateful to know that I will eternally have the opportunity to spend eternity with him. And I'm grateful that I had those last few days with him there at the refuge, because had I not gone, had I not taken that opportunity to spend time with him, I would not have the peace and the strength that seems to carry me now through all of this. So I'm grateful that I too had the chance to go up there and be with him. I wanted to end by just repeating what he said to me as I was getting in the car to leave on Monday. He said, "I love you, Jeanette. Take courage. Have strength. Have faith. God is in charge." I can still see his face smiling at me as I'm driving away with his "I love you." I want to again thank you for coming to support me and my family, and to continue supporting the Bundys. They need their husbands and fathers home, so let's not forget about all of them who are incarcerated. Let us stand. Let us fight back this tyranny. Let us not let LaVoy's murder be in vain. Do what is right and let the consequences follow. And I want to say God bless you, and I love you, and thank you so very much.
We love you.